Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football and another Arsenal demolition job. There's nobody that's going to say that this Premier League title has been won by Arsenal yet, but listen to this. Not just a demolition job against Leeds today, but look at their last few Premier League games. Arsenal 4, Everton 0. Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 2. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Arsenal 4, Crystal Palace 1, and then Arsenal 4, Leeds 1 today. They are averaging above 3 goals a game in their last 5 or 6 Premier League games. It's absolutely relentless. At a point where the pressure gets put on Arsenal, they go up a gear. They're not even doing the whole grind out a 1-0 win at the moment. They're responding to the challenge of Manchester City by demolishing the opposition. I watched the game. I've played the game. You watched the game. Arsenal rivals Manchester City lunchtime kickoff against Liverpool. They win 4-1 themselves. Liverpool go 1-0 up. You maybe get your hopes up. Maybe the referee could have sent Rodri off and it's a different game. Maybe you're licking your wounds thinking, that's a big statement by Man City. But then Arsenal go and win 4-1 themselves. It's just, I wouldn't say it's amazing because it's consistent, but it's massively credible. I wouldn't even call it incredible anymore. It's consistent, as I said, but don't underestimate. I mean, I've been watching the Premier League since it started. I've seen Manchester United win it loads of times. I've watched other teams win it, and we're in this scenario now where Arsenal's relentlessness and consistency is sensational. They deserve the plaudits. They deserve to be where they are. Nobody predicted this was going to happen. I mean, I can sit there and say I was one of the few that said give Arteta time, but I don't think anybody predicted that we'd see Arsenal at this stage of their development winning week in, week out against teams that, well, look at the Premier League results today. The Premier League is absolutely incredible at the moment, and it's so entertaining. It's so competitive, and you've got Bournemouth beating Fulham, an absolutely incredible 6-goal thriller between Brighton and Brentford. These teams are fighting for lots of things: top 4, relegation, titles. So for Arsenal, as I say, to be demolishing teams like they are, it puts them as I keep saying every week, and this is what they need to keep doing. Every week of this season, they are the consistently best side. Man City are a great side. There's no doubt about that. They're going for 3 in a row. But Arsenal are, if you were handing out the Premier League title at the moment, whether it's begrudgingly or, jealousy or whatever, but the fact is Arsenal are the best team in the league and Arsenal do play the best football. And again, they've had a bit of rotation. No Saka, he started on the bench. Saliba wasn't fit. Jesus is back. The fear that maybe Arsenal would falter a little bit as the season develops. As I say, they're going up a gear. They're not even at the point where they're having to grind out results now. They are destroying the opposition, and Leeds probably played into Arsenal's hands a little bit, but they're still a team that you wouldn't have been surprised if Leeds had got a point today. But then again, it would have been a shock because Arsenal have absolutely destroyed them, dismantled them. Look, this Premier League title is really intriguing. I think Manchester City, as we know, are capable of going and winning their last 9 games, however many they've got left. But in this form, you think, well, look, there's a big game at Anfield next week. I'm looking forward to that. But if Liverpool play like they have done this season, I think people are waking up to, and a lot of us have woken up a long time to the fact that Arsenal are a decent side. You're not playing the Arsenal of previous years that are going to go to Anfield and maybe bottle it. Now, it's a massive test for them. I think they've still got to go to Newcastle as well, and they've got to go to the Etihad. You look at the league table, it's a 5-point gap if Man City win their game in hand, and if they then beat Arsenal, it's a 2-point gap, and if they keep winning, that 2-point gap means that Arsenal can only afford to draw 1 and have to keep winning the rest of them, and then it's still going to come down to goal difference. So it's still a big ask for Arsenal, and I think what are Arsenal in the league now? They must be up to 72 points, still got 9 games to go, so they could hit 99 points. It's very unlikely, but they could also hit 92 points and not win the title, which would be devastating for Arsenal now. I think that their fan base are starting to believe it, and I think that for most of the season they wouldn't believe it. They were just enjoying the ride, but you do start to get to the finish line of a race that you weren't meant to win, and when you've been winning that race for so long, I mean, you think about Arsenal, it's a bit like a marathon, isn't it? Nobody expected them to be in the running at all, and then from the start of the marathon they've been in front, and people thought, oh, maybe it's just an early start. No, they've not fell off. Midway, they're still top. They'll fall off. 3/4 of the way through, they're still there, and they look the best. And the finishing line is starting to come into sight for them now. So I think Arsenal fans are starting to believe they've got a massive part to play. The Emirates has, been buzzing for most of the season. The positivity, and the players. I mean, look, you can talk about Jesus and you can talk about Zinchenko and what they've brought to the team, and you can't underestimate that. But there's loads of other players that have got no experience of winning Premier League titles who've stepped up to the plate consistently. Saka with maturity and talent beyond his years. That midfield, Xhaka's had a renaissance nobody would have predicted. Odegaard again, another young player, a leader in that team. The defence has done fantastically well. Ramsdale as well. It's a real team ethic at Arsenal, and I think that result today is very impressive. Not because I don't think Arsenal can win 4-1, but because they've done it after Man City destroying Liverpool. And you would look at that. Arsenal fans would have been looking at that fixture. Arteta would be looking at that fixture for weeks and going, Liverpool, Man City, there's a chance for Man City to drop points. So it's in your head. It doesn't happen. And then you've got to go and play a team that's fighting relegation. And it just shows you the mentality kings that Arsenal have been this season. And they don't seem to be deterred in what is in their hands. I think really I was looking at the fixtures just before. You can start to pick them out now, and when you look at Arsenal's next few games, that Liverpool one next week is absolutely massive. There's just no doubt about that. You can't call it, but that's their next game. They don't play midweek, so they've got a week off basically because they've played a game more than everybody else. Liverpool next week, West Ham away, Southampton at home, and then it's Man City on Wednesday the 26th of April. And really what Arsenal have got to do is they've got to be in a position when they go to Man City, and even if they lose, they've still got that 2-point gap. So they've got to beat Southampton, they've got to beat West Ham, and they've got to beat Liverpool. And then you go to the Etihad with a 5-point gap, and even if Man City win, you've still got it in your hands. And then if they go to Man City and they don't lose, they've probably pretty much got a hold of that title. They've still got Chelsea at home. They've got to go to Newcastle, Brighton at home, Forest away, and then Wolves at home. Really, when you look at Arsenal now, it's Newcastle away. Definitely Newcastle away. Maybe Brighton at home. Certainly Liverpool away. And then I'd be a little bit concerned about Chelsea and West Ham away. But apart from that, the games are counting down, and Arsenal are getting closer and closer to a title that at this moment you'd have to say they deserved. Demolition job today. They keep rolling on. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. I'll speak to you soon.